Welcome to the Falling Walls Breakthrough Conversations. With this format, which is realized in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Education and Research and Springer and Nature, we have created an intimate space for interactions with global science leaders, emerging innovators, and entrepreneurs. So you, our audience, online audience, are encouraged to actively participate in this conversation and engage in the discussions with our guests. This is a unique chance for you to interact with the leading minds and a range of different disciplines that we have prepared for you. So, my name is Filipe Almeida. I'm an editor at Nature Biomedical Engineering. I'd like to introduce you now our speaker. Welcome Paweł Rowiński, who is the chair of the European Division Leadership Team of International Association for Hydro-Environmental Engineering and Research. Paweł is also vice president of the Polish Academy of Science and board member of the European Federation of Academics of Science and Humanities. So thanks for being here, Paweł.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I have prepared a couple of questions for you, of course. And the first, you are a mathematician, right? And you have a doctoral degree in habilitations in earth sciences with specialization in geophysics. So what led you to pursue this field? Is there any particular inspiration that you want to share with the audience that led you here?
Yeah, it's a bit like always in life, kind of a coincidence as well. So when I was doing my studies in mathematics, in theoretical mathematics, it so happened that it was a plan that time in Poland to build a nuclear power station.
Okay.
And they needed a mathematical model of what will happen with the heated water that is discharged into to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asked to prepare such model, and it was the beginning of my work on hydrophysics, let's say. So that was kind of a coincidence because it was my master thesis, but I liked it very much. It is a piece of fascinating mathematics, and it happened that I started this kind of work.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. And today, this morning, before this conversation, you had a planetary session at Falling Walls, where you talked about the research in Ukraine in this devastating context. And so for those that weren't able to attend the planetary session, what is your message and what did you try to convey to the public of the actual situation in Ukraine and its impact in science?
Yeah, we all realize that the situation that we have in Ukraine at the moment, and we don't know how long it will last, and that's one of the uncertainties that we have. But we need to do everything that the science in Ukraine will survive. And one thing is to survive, another thing is to rebuild it, and I even say that we need to build it from the scratch at some point, because we should build something which is better than it used to be in the past. So, but at the moment, this is a devastated system, and these researchers are under either leaving the country, or if they have to, they stay, but they don't have good conditions for the work. And we learned that it cannot be done by any particular organization or country. We should do it together.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot at Polish level, and we are probably the first to prepare a program of scholarships. So on the 1st of March, we already launched the program to help Ukrainian researchers. But for the future, we learned a lot that, for example, we need to build this program together with Ukrainians. That's first of all. Second, we need to think about long-term kind of an assistance or help for good researchers. So we need to pick up the best of the best in Ukraine, and we shouldn't create a brain drainage. So we should create opportunities for them to build their research within Ukraine. So they can come to our countries, they can collaborate with the best European and world institutions, but then we should build programs that will make them coming back to Ukraine and then build this. So that's how we try to create chances for them. We do it together with many institutions. I think the leading one in cooperation with Polish Academy of Sciences is US National Academy of Sciences, and then they kindly provide also good funds for these programs.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so there were researchers that moved out of the country when the war started. And are these researchers hosted by other institutions, and are they coming back? Are you trying to get them back into Ukraine?
You know, the situation is much more difficult and tricky. First of all, there were only female scientists that could leave the country. Or the older generation of men scientists, because they are not allowed to leave the country. So that's first difficulty. You can imagine that at the very beginning, when the war started, we had a lot of people who just came to Poland, knocked our doors. We knew them from earlier research collaborations. So, and they needed help. And we didn't have a system, and we didn't have a special program. So we needed to build it really in a hurry. So we needed to respond immediately. So this is why we created this program at that stage very quickly. But now we need to think about building these programs, as I mentioned, that they create their research laboratories within Ukraine. And so we should establish, and we are at this stage to build such program, that there will be research groups financed by international community. Some of members of this group can be in one of the research institutes of Europe, for example, but the others should stay in Ukraine. So we need to build a bridge. So that these kind of programs we need to create at the moment.
Okay, interesting. So now changing a little bit gears, but at the same time related to what you were saying, that you're looking to promote the best science possible. So what are the ingredients for good science, the best science?
Oh, that's absolutely very general question, but I would say from the very beginning, when you start to do research, it must be some passion. So otherwise, you will never be a good scientist if you are not very deeply involved, and if you need to love it. So because this is not an easy job. So it never ends. It's not just 8-hour occupation that you go to the office and you finish your work. It's 24 hours that you think about solving a problem. So if you don't like it, then better don't do it. So that's my first advice. You need to have a talent, but also be able to work a lot. And of course, there are a lot of, I would say, circumstances. Sometimes it's something that you don't expect. You need to meet right people. I very much stress this relation between let's say, the master and somebody who learns from him. So you need to find the right people on your way. So that's this tutoring, and I would say, not even being a master, you need to find a partner who is, let's say, more mature in research. So that's...
The research is all about collaboration, right? In the end, there's the component, and there's also the passion, as you said.
Collaboration.
Really
it depends very much on the area of research you do. I know mathematicians who are very individuals, so they work by themselves, but of course they need to find excellent mathematicians on the way as well. But very often it's just a way that you are able to collaborate with others.
Yeah, fascinating. And so now I wanted to talk about the pandemic, the COVID-19. And I'm curious to ask you, what are the positive, but also if you want to talk about the negative aspects of the whole pandemic that we just experienced and we're still experiencing. So what do you think it changed in the world, in how in science, but not only that, also in society, in how we pursue life?
Yeah, it has changed plenty. I mean, we are in a completely different world than we used to be a few years ago, and also in terms of research. First of all, it was something unexpected. Although there were some warning signs before that things like this may happen, but I believe everywhere in the world we were quite surprised or astonished as what happened. I remember at the very beginning, everybody thought, okay, it will be 1 month or 2 months of some, let's say, other way of living, but nobody expected it will be years. So that's something really new. I think as researchers, first of all, we passed an exam. I mean, we remember all this huge work on vaccinations. That was something which we didn't deal with before. That's so strong collaboration between organizations, institutions. Instead of just competition, it was a strong collaboration. So we could learn a lot. But also we learned to work under, let's say, crisis situation. So this is something completely different, and I believe it will be a lesson for also other crises that other crisis situations that we deal with. I mean, like climate change. So that's we now can imagine that we can live in the world, that it's something that will bring something unexpected, and we need to adjust to it. And I believe COVID taught us how to do it. So that's a lot on this. And also, I remember a few years ago, it was impossible to meet like right now, that we had meetings through this electronic media. And of course, there was technology, but we didn't also adjust to it. So everybody thought to have a meeting, we need to go somewhere. So from the other hand side, when we talk about this footprint of this coal footprint, and that in terms of climate change, it's a good thing that we can meet now in different ways. So there's plenty to be learned, but I think the most important is that we are able, and we learn how to behave under uncertain situation, unexpected situation, and that's something that we'll have anyway, and we will have other crisis situations.
No. Yeah,
climate.
absolutely.
Ukraine is another example.
Yeah, and you were talking about the climate change, which it brings me to my next topic. Do you think we'll ever overcome our dependency on fossil fuel? And what are the current barriers for this transformation that we've been for so long waiting for?
Yeah, I have learned that it is not one universal answer for all around the world. So we are in different situations, different countries. I come from Poland, and we are very coal-dependent country. So that's something that we need to change at a different pace than other countries have to do. You ask me if we ever will be independent. We have to, because we have no other choice. So that we get these labels here. There's no other planet. Yeah. So we need to find sources and ways of producing energy based on, I don't know, hydrogen or wind or solar energy, and we need to get rid of this fossil fuels, and that's obvious. Yeah.
And why do you think we are being so slow in doing that?
Yeah, we are being so slow because these are politicians that decide, and that's very often there's no rationale behind. So that's the short-term success of a politician very often decides, and that's I think the major problem. But we as a society, we need to exert pressure on them, and then that's the only way. And then, yes, we start to be too slow, and then we are talking about 1.5 degrees higher temperature at the end of this century. It seems it's not doable anymore. If it is 2 degrees, we still have to remember how many people will suffer from climate change.
Yeah, it's also a huge problem that we're facing, and it's heartbreaking, in my opinion. I also wanted to go back to what we're talking about, inspiration and how you got here. And hopefully our audience will have young scientists. And so if you'd have to give them an advice, what kind of advice would you give to young scientists that are just, going through their basic studies as scientists across the world?
Yeah, at the very beginning, which is most difficult, you cannot be impatient. So that's very often people, and we live in a environment that everybody is expecting that you will publish soon, and then I think we need some patience. You first need to learn something, and then you need some time for your first real research before it is published. So I would say that science is not about publication. Publication is a good way of showing your results, but first you need to enjoy the research that you are doing, and that's something that I would advise young people. I would also advise them, don't stick to the subjects that you don't like, because very often, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's a coincidence. You can find somebody on your way who will give you a subject to work on. But if it is something that you don't feel that is your subject, don't do it. So you need to have this passion, and then because I would say science is not very democratic. So you need the best people. It's not that everybody is equal. So it is a game for the best of the best.
Okay, well, yeah. And we're running out of time. So very briefly, and this is my last question to you, what are your expectations from the Falling Walls Summit?
I believe what is really important is a place to debate and to talk. So there are plenty of subjects that are discussed here, but I think what is at the front of these falling walls, these are again crisis situations. So we talked about Ukraine. I see the panels about climate change. So I think we as a scientific society, but not only, because we cannot do it as like on an island. It must be connected to the society, and I think falling walls helps us to link what we as researchers are doing, to link it with the society and also the industry. So that's I think it will be the major outcome of this meeting.
Well, I hope that's the case, and from what I see, that's what's happening. And thank you so much for this time, and thank you everyone that is online watching us. I don't think there's any questions from our audience. So I'll wrap up and I'll say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our speaker, Paweł. It was a pleasure to meet you. And
thank you so much. It was a great pleasure.
It was a great opportunity. So thank you everyone, and we'll see you in the next conversation.